Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Inspire View series. I am so thrilled that you're here and that you support this series because I feel it is, well, let me introduce myself first. I guess I'm skipping ahead. My name is Cherrise Boucher of CherriseBoucher.com. And the Inspire View series is about women sharing their stories and their passions to help inspire other women to do the same. And the stories that I've shared with me during this series over the past 15 months or so really have been sort of my go-to for when I need the motivation and inspiration to move forward. So I hope that you go back to past interviews, find some that interest you, and listen to them. So the women I've had the honor of talking to in this series are from all over the world, and they all have very unique but have similar threads throughout their stories. They all have a desire to follow their passion and to live it. And I think that is key because so many times in our lives, we're just doing the right thing or the thing we're supposed to do, but there's something still tugging us to do something else and to follow something that brings us joy. So it's nice to hear stories of how people have done that, and then they can share inspiration and tips and maybe some little tricks that they've used to actually make that their life. Today, I am really honored to introduce you to a food and body relationship specialist. She's passionate about helping women repair their relationships with food and body so that they can finally move on with their lives without the constant preoccupation with food and the feeling that their bodies don't measure up. This awesome lady is a certified intuitive eating counselor, certified holistic health coach, and former foodie. She teaches women how to trust themselves around food again and seek true satisfaction with food without the guilt, shame, or hesitation using the intuitive eating model. Welcome to the Inspire View series, Michelle Vina-Baltsas.
Hi, Cherrise.
How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for inviting me.
Oh my God, I'm thrilled because I think this is such a big topic for so many men and women, like everybody, really.
Yes, yes, great.
I'm not sure if you focus mostly with women, but I mean, it is a huge topic, huge. And so many, it starts young too, I think.
It does.
But we'll talk about that. So anyway, why don't we get to know you a little bit? Go ahead and share a little bit about your story, your journey to what got you to where you are right now.
Okay. And I just want to say that I work with women, but this does affect men and women. And I think more and more it's starting to affect men like it is women. So it really is becoming like an epidemic. Unfortunately. My history is that, I describe myself as a foodie from as early as age 4, no exaggeration.
Wow.
I just remember binging like constantly at a very, very young age. My earliest memories were of me eating. And my dad used to say to me that I eat with my eyes because I would see like food on a plate and I'd be like, oh, I want all of that, And I was always like, going for more and more and more. And it really didn't matter how stuffed I was. I still wanted more. So obviously I was trying to fill something in my soul that needed to be filled. And I felt at that time that the food was going to do that for me. Learning later in life that there was a big hole and that the food was never going to fill it, no matter how much I ate. So I, was on every diet known to human beings. I tried every exercise plan. I, starved myself. I was never officially anorexic, but I definitely dabbled in those kinds of thoughts. And so I know now that I've been educated that I did officially have binge eating disorder, also known as BED. And at the time, when I was younger, it used to be called compulsive eating. But now I officially fit into that, diagnostic category of a binge eating disorder person. Not so much that the label really matters, but it was just to it was really to help me to understand how intense my eating was at that time. About 4 years ago, I went back to nutrition school. I had been a technical writer for a medical company for many, many years. But I was always interested in nutrition and helping women to feel better about themselves. And I even at one point wanted to work for Weight Watchers. And I went back to school to the Institute for Integrative Nutrition and learned more about nutrition and healthy eating. At that time, I was a vegetarian, so I was really, really into the whole vegetarian movement, vegan movement. And I thought this would be a great thing for me to really, look into doing. So I graduated 3 years ago, and I still felt like there was more that I wanted to learn. And so I literally stumbled upon intuitive eating. And at the time, my food was okay. It wasn't great, but it was okay. But I still didn't have that freedom that I was looking for around food. I still had fear, and I still had trigger foods that I wouldn't go near because I felt that if I ate them, I wouldn't be able to stop. So to say that I was relaxed or had a healthy relationship with food was not true. And when I stumbled upon intuitive eating, this is about 3 years ago, I was like, oh, I think this might be something to look at. And at first, I really was in disbelief that this could actually work and that I could be free from food. And after practicing it for a while and getting my own intuitive eating counselor to work with, I discovered that this was for me and that I wanted to live this type of lifestyle. And I have been for the past 3 years, and I finally, for the first time in my life, feel free from food. I don't have any food obsession. I enjoy my food without guilt or worry. I truly love my body. I think I'm at my natural weight now. I'm like a size 12, size 14. It really depends upon the brand. I really don't harp at all on size, but I really do love the skin that I'm in. And I used to be a size 6, so my body has changed dramatically over the past couple of years for various reasons. But I love my body now more than I ever did when I was a size 6, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. And I'm very physically active. I am very healthy. All my blood work is great. And I truly understand that you can have health at any size, and that you can love your body, and it's not something that you have to be thin to do. It's a choice that you make every day. And it's a choice that I've made in my life, and now I'm sharing that with other women who want the same, who are tired of dieting and having to fit into a certain mold in order for them to feel like they're good enough. We are good enough just the way we are. And so that's where I came from.
That's really cool. That's cool that, you're saying that you feel better now than when you were a size 6.
Yeah.
So obviously, I'm really not familiar with intuitive eating, so you can newbie right here.
Oh, yeah.
So obviously, you're not going to intuitively feel like you should eat 5 cupcakes. So how does it work? Like, what does it mean, intuitive eating?
Intuitive eating really is, it's really an umbrella for 12 principles that the authors of a book called Intuitive Eating have developed. And what I love about it is that it encompasses everything. It's gentle nutrition, it's getting out of the diet mentality, it's not eating emotionally to soothe your feelings, it's finding healthy exercise. So, there's a lot of things under that umbrella. It's also seeking satisfaction in the foods that you eat. But what most people really know intuitive eating is that we listen to our body's intuition. So, for example, there are going to be times when your body is craving protein, and you're going to listen to it. There are going to be times when it's craving carbohydrates, and you're going to listen to it. But some people don't listen because they think that carbs are the devil and that the carbs are going to make them fat, when in essence, our body does need carbohydrates. That is what fuels us and gives us energy. And so by depriving ourselves of that, we are putting ourselves into a mode where we will eventually binge on carbohydrates because of the deprivation. So the whole idea is not to deprive yourself, especially in the beginning when you're first exploring intuitive eating, because you're kind of like given like a green light to do what you want to do with food. However, the caveat is you do your best to eat when you're hungry and to stop eating when you're full, and to really listen to your body, because your body knows when it's had enough. Right. We just don't listen to it. You know, we just don't, we're like, oh my God, those cupcakes are so good, or the cookies are so good. And the reason why I believe, and what I have seen in my own life and also with my clients, is that people tend to binge on cupcakes and cookies and bread is because they deprive themselves of these things. Mm-hmm. So when they finally allow themselves to have a cupcake or a cookie, they can't stop eating it, because in their minds they're thinking, well, I better eat all the cookies because I won't get this opportunity again. Yeah. So I'm going to eat all of them, because it may be next year again till I say you can have a cookie. Right. As opposed to the mentality of, I can have a cookie whenever I want. I choose to have this cookie now with a glass of almond milk, or I choose not to. Yeah. But I don't have those kinds of restrictions in my life. And when you take that restriction out, the sexiness of the food kind of wears off. You know, it's like when people have like a love affair, they can't get enough of this person, they can't get enough. But after a while, it's kind of like, yeah, you're still hot, but I don't know, you know, it's right. It's just that passion for it just isn't the same when you know you can have it whenever you want, and it's not done in secrecy. It just doesn't have that same draw anymore. Right. So I can literally have one chocolate chip cookie with a glass of almond milk and be done. And not be thinking about the rest of a dozen or two that's sitting on my kitchen counter. No guilt, and I have one cookie, and I'm literally satisfied. And sometimes I can bake cookies and not even want one, because I know I can have them whenever I want. Yeah. So without that restriction, it kind of takes away all of that pulling and tugging, and it's really nice. It's a nice way to live your life.
It really is. I wonder, there must be like so many different reasons or circumstances that people even get it in their head that, like what you're saying, that would cause the binge eating, because they feel like they have to eat all the cookies because they're not going to allow themselves to do that again, because I'm one of those people that can just eat one. And I love like the little snack size, like the little mini like Hershey bars or things like Halloween, because that's all I need, like literally. So I wonder, have you encountered that it's pretty much like so many different reasons why people feel this way? Is it because they get overweight and then they're like, oh my God, like it's because of the cookies? And then they're like, I'm swearing off of cookies. And then the one day they just eat a ton of them.
I first of all, I have to say that it's definitely the minority that you can eat a small piece of chocolate. Applause to you. Definitely a minority there. And, you know, most people look at me, I've even written blog posts about being able to eat one cookie, and then even sometimes have the nerve to leave half the cookie behind. And people are like, oh my God, that's blasphemy, you know? And it literally can happen. And so I think, for most people, again, that pull comes from the deprivation. And it's from saying no all the time. No, I can't have it. And, you know, where it comes from is that we are constantly told that sugar is bad, that carbs are bad, and that fat is going to kill you. And based on all the research that I've done, primarily with Health at Every Size, which is a movement that you don't have to be thin to be healthy. Health is not dictated by the size the person is. Right. So in other words, a person who is overweight, you know, based on their BMI scale, which is also very, very dated for many reasons that I'll go into, they can be in very, very good physical condition. They can also have blood work that is reflective of a healthy person. So you don't have to be thin to be healthy. Just as if you're overweight, it doesn't mean that you're not healthy. And we're told something different every single day. There's a war on obesity. You know, sugar is the devil. And the bottom line is that every body is different. If that's the one thing that I learned when I was in nutrition school, is that every single body is different. Some bodies react differently to sugar. Some bodies don't react at all. Yes, what's happened chemically may be similar, but the way it makes us feel is different for everybody. So some people say that they have that big sugar rush and then a big crash. I'm not one of those people. So I can have a cookie or a piece of cake and honestly feel okay and not feel like I go through that dragging, lull period afterwards. And I'm not in denial. Believe me, I have analyzed this many, many a time because many people have argued with me about this. And I said, look, everybody's different. And we have to appreciate that we are different, and that diversity is part of what we're supposed to be.
Yeah.
So I think that, we are told, there isn't one day that I go by, I don't hear something somewhere about the obesity epidemic and people getting diabetes and this and that. And again, people at any weight can become diabetic. And it may or may not have something to do with their weight. But what I have people focus on is health.
Right.
Meaning, a consistent exercise routine that they enjoy, that makes them happy, that they eat foods and they appreciate gentle nutrition. In other words, but they eat healthy, as many whole foods as possible, because it's a no-brainer. We all know that processed foods are not doing us any favors.
Right.
They strip the nutrients out of the food. So the more nutrient-dense foods you can have, the better. Does that mean I don't have an occasional cupcake? Absolutely not. I enjoy a cupcake every once in a while.
Yeah.
I don't feel the need to have them very often, but when I want one, I have one. Fruits and vegetables, obviously drink plenty of, fresh water, the basics. But I do enjoy bread. Yes, it's Ezekiel bread, but I still enjoy bread, and it's just nice to have those kinds of options in my life without saying, oh my God, it's a carbohydrate, it's going to make me fat. That's just exhausting, And I think we're really brainwashed to believe that all of this is true. And it's just not, and there's a book called Health at Every Size by Linda Bacon. And she probably has 200 or 300 tests or clinical studies that she talks about in her book. And she has another book called Body Respect. Linda Bacon and Lucy Amirpour wrote that book, and it goes into more detail about how we are told that fat is, that's basically a death sentence, and they refute all of that. And it's very, very interesting. I think the big thing that people have is they don't want to be fat because they think it looks really ugly. And I get that. That's our society tells us that. I believe in diversity. So I believe that we're all created to be different. If we were all supposed to be the same, God would have made us the same.
Right.
And we're not. So I don't think that there is a perfect body. I think that we can find perfection in everybody. And I think it's really, I just want people to be happy with what they have, and stop looking and stop thinking, oh, well, if I lost 10 pounds, if I lost 20 pounds, and they stop themselves from doing things in their lives because they're always wanting to lose X amount of pounds. Meanwhile, they're putting their life on hold.
Right.
And that makes me sad because I did that for so many years. So I get it,
Yeah, I hear about that in, social media. Oh, I'll create the video when I lose 20 pounds. Oh, I'll do this. And it's but meanwhile, all these people are waiting for you to share your stuff, right?
Exactly.
So holding yourself back because you feel or you perceive that your body is not fit for being on video or whatever.
Exactly.
Nobody else looks at us the way that we do.
Exactly.
Because I don't look at other people, like we were talking about the screenshots of videos, if you do a little video and you post it online or something and you've got some goofy face or something, we're the only ones who think about
it's true.
yourself, nobody else really looks at you that way at all because they see your personality.
Exactly. And they see the gifts that you have to offer. When I work with women, I work with some female coaches and, they say, well, I don't want to do my photo shoot until I lose X amount of pounds. And I say, well, let me ask you, do you have a coach? And they say, yeah. I said, do you care how much that coach weighs? And they say, no.
Yeah.
So I say, why would anybody care if they resonate with your message? I don't think they care what size your pants are.
Right.
I don't think they're going to say, well, I'll sign the contract, but only if you're a size 6. I mean, when you think about it in those terms, it's kind of silly.
It really is.
Like, it's not even a thought in my mind. If I resonate with someone's message, that's all I care about. If they speak to my heart, and I feel like, wow, I really think they get me.
Yeah.
The size of their jeans is absolutely not important to me at all.
Yeah.
So I agree with you in that we have these perceived beliefs that we have to be, just so in order for people to resonate with us. And that's our words and the things we say and how we make people feel are what really, really matter. And as a woman, those are things that I look for when I'm looking to work with somebody, or even when I'm talking to people, acquaintances that I'm meeting. If I resonate with something that they say and it makes me feel a certain way, I'm going to go back for more.
Right.
And again, I don't care what size they are,
Right. Yeah. It doesn't, it's our own perceptions more than anything else, which is not easy to change, but when you're aware of it,
right, exactly,
it becomes easier to change, which
I agree. I agree.
So important. I mean, I've posted before about awareness, like being the key of like everything, because before you're aware of your thoughts or your actions or your reactions or your feelings, you could just willy-nilly, like you're all over the place, right? But when you intentionally want to make changes and you start to become aware of how you're thinking or how you're feeling or how you're reacting to something, you can go, whoa, stopping, and I'm going to shift that right now. And that's when the magic happens.
I agree. We are so much more than our bodies. That's what people see on the outside. But again, that's not what sticks. It's how the person made you feel. That you go back for. Right. And that's just so important. Women are amazing. They really are. And they have so much to offer. And many women are so compassionate and so loving and want to share, what they have to offer with other people, and are not generally looking for what's in it for me. They're just natural nurturing. That's just, I think many women, that's just the way we're designed, So it saddens me when people hold back in sharing their gifts because of the way they look, because of their perceived beliefs about, well, I'm not good enough and I can't really show my face yet because I'm still too fat, It's sad to me, because they're not living their life's purpose, Right. And that's just, again, because I did that for so long, it just, that's why if I can help anyone that I can help free from that mentality, and like you're saying, to turn that light bulb on and realize that it's so much more than that, than just what's on the outside. Beautiful things happen. Like you said, that's where the magic happens. Yeah. It's when to see it happen is like, wow, it's exciting, to see someone like literally flourish, and their light, to allow their light to shine. Yeah. It's really, and they feel like they're reborn, so it's very exciting.
It really is. It is. It's just amazing. And I think that's why your message and other people like you about, with body image and the thoughts that go through our heads, because it happens to everybody. It happens to people who are size 0. It happens to people who are size 24. It doesn't matter, right? Absolutely. Because we're bombarded by media, and, you go in the stores, especially some stores, I've talked about this before, where, like I'm about a 6'7", at like Hollister and Abercrombie, like I wear a large, and that's like the largest they have. I'm like, okay, I don't feel good about shopping in here because it's making me feel bigger than I am. And I'm like, what about all those poor teenagers who are the ones who really shop there, the preteens and teens, who then get this negative body image of themselves in their head because they're shopping there and the clothes doesn't fit. Right. When they're just an average size, you know, they're not super skinny, you know, they're not really overweight. They're just like a regular comfortable size. They don't fit in the freaking clothes because it's like Barbie doll size. It's ridiculous.
Very unrealistic sizing, especially in stores like that, because they're really going toward the younger population.
Younger, like you have to be 2 to fit in some of their clothes.
No. So like a person that's a size 2 will fit into a size 6.
Right.
In a store like that, because their sizing is so distorted.
Yeah.
And, you know, and we know that this type of sizing and this whole mentality is generally what leads young women to have eating disorders.
Yeah.
You know, and it, you know, it goes so deep, and there's so many people that are struggling with just feeling good about themselves, and it's young girls, but it's also women too, you know, grown women that you think would be over that by now, but they're not, because, you know, there's still so much shame around it, and people continue to believe that fat equals lazy and fat equals unhealthy, and when you dig a little deeper, like I did, that's a generalization, you know, and you can't assume that just because a person is overweight that they're lazy, because I got to be honest with you, and I used to believe that way too. I will totally be open to that. 10 years ago, I would have been like, well, they're so fat, how could they be in really good physical shape? And let me tell you, I've seen plenty of people that are overweight and who can do circles around me cardio-wise.
Yeah.
Who can go through a whole Zumba class, and I can't because I'm a Zumba spaz. But I
haven't even tried it. I don't even want to go there because I would just look like a bumbling idiot. I'd have to be like in a corner.
Well, I tell people I don't do Zumba for their own safety because
legs are flying.
Yeah, exactly. It not only does it look frightening, it's dangerous. So I refrain. I do dance at home, but everything is away from me because it could get very dangerous. My dog is on the couch, safe and sound, and I'm not even kidding.
The dog vacates the areas, like give it her space here.
It's embarrassing, but I have fun, and that's what matters. And I get my groove on. But you know, people can be physically fit and be overweight, and it's a misnomer to say that it can't happen. I see it every day at the gym where I go. Well, I don't go every day. That's a lie. I go 3 to 4 times a week, and I see plenty of people that are, you know, on the elliptical like me or on the gliders like me, and they're going longer than me. Now, I don't know. You know, I think that's pretty awesome. And again, the focus should always be on health, and health is not a number. It's really not. It's addressing those things. It's engaging in consistent exercise that you enjoy, that makes your body feel good. You know, and also dressing in clothes that make you feel good. You know, some people they put on clothes that are too tight because they say it's going to force them to lose weight. And I don't know about you, but that makes me feel like a stuffed sausage.
Yeah.
It doesn't make me feel good at all. And when I don't feel good, I would want to eat more because I would be so depressed. So it's like, you know, everybody's different, but I just feel that, you know, we should honor our bodies by wearing clothes that fit us, you know, and that make us feel really good. And hopefully that's, you do your best to put the size aside. And I know that that's not easy at all. But comfort, I always say, comfort should always trump size, you know, because when you move more comfortably, you're more confident and you just feel better. You know, wearing tight clothes that are restrictive around your waist and your thighs, they just don't feel good. You're going to be hiding, you know, who wants to do that, you know? Get out there,
it's like hiding from who though? Because then people do notice that your clothes is not fitting right, and that you would look better and feel better if you were wearing clothes that fit.
Exactly. That's so true, because it's funny to me that people think, oh, well, I'm going to wear the smaller size and no one's going to notice.
No, people notice.
People notice. I'm sorry to tell you, but people notice. You know what I mean? It's like you have to be blind not to see, but the pants are like cutting off circulation on someone's body.
Right.
So I look at them and I say, oh my God, I look so uncomfortable. And it's not a judgment. It's just that I've been there, you know, and I know how it feels I feel like you're going to be split in half because the waist is so tight.
Yeah.
So it's just not a good feeling. You know, it's really not. And it doesn't make my spirit feel good. It makes me feel worse.
Mm-hmm.
So wear things that are comfortable, you know, that you can move in.
Right. And look how long this has been going on, though, because look at what's the 18th century when women had to wear corsets and they would pass out because they had to have that hourglass figure, which is completely unnatural because who has that? Nobody has that.
Nobody.
But that's, I mean, this has been going on since not the beginning of time, because obviously like cavemen and women didn't care because they were naked. They were more comfortable in furs and stuff. But for a long time, wonder when that started. Now it's making me think, like going back to fashion history or something to see when this became a thing. That women were shoved into these tiny things and had to have this appearance.
Yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned that because, as you know, I'm co-authoring a book with three other amazing, amazing women. And the book is about mindset. And it's called Mindset Makeover. And my piece of the book, my 3 chapters, are related to women and body image. And one of the chapters, Cherrise, is about the history of the body and how women have changed over the years. And as far back, the corsets were like the early 1900s. But before that, women were the bigger the better, and curvy was in. And they called it the Rubenesque era. And the more rolls, the bigger your boobs, the better, the bigger your butt, the more attractive you were seen at that time. Then you get to the 1900s and people are putting on those corsets and tying those strings as tight as they can. I can't even imagine how uncomfortable that must have been. But it was all in the name of fashion, you know? And how it has changed, like every 10 years, pretty much, like something else was in style. And the bottom line is that if you wait long enough, your body will be in style at some point. It's just, you know, it's really just a matter of what decade it is. So I say, you know, screw that. And just, you know, your body is always in. You know, if you're comfortable in your own skin, that to me is always in style, as opposed to trying to fit into what, you know, what society and what the fashion people say about, oh, well, you shouldn't wear that, or, you know, that's not in style now. I mean, when flappers were in the 20s, the less shape you had and the flatter your bust, the better off you were.
How comfortable did that look? That was like,
I mean,
awesome.
You know, short hair and straight dresses. So that was a complete 360 from what it was the decade before, which was corsets and big boobs and big butts and tiny waists. So, like I said, every decade it changes. And the whole point for me of that chapter was that, you know, it's always going to be something. You know, sometimes a certain body shape will be in, and then the next 10 years it won't be. So if you're going to wait around for that, you could be waiting your whole life. And then what are you supposed to do? Not like yourself in the meantime? It's kind of silly, you know, when you think about it like that.
It is. Just don't look at the fashion magazines, the runway shows, because those are not for real people.
They're not for real. They're not for real.
Like how many people can fit into that stuff? I mean, only those people. But they're just a thing about one of the Victoria's Secret models, I think. I saw some snippet on the news and I didn't really pay attention, but I think they had said something to her about she had gained some weight, and you could never tell, right? You know, but because she probably eats a piece of cheese or something for lunch. But yeah, there was just something recently, like last week, I think, on the news about that. So, you know, it's awful. I can't wait till the day when fashion really catches up in the industry and the cover models. And it's starting a little bit. Just be real people. Like Dove has done that amazing campaign. Aerie, I don't know if you're familiar with Aerie. My daughter shops there for underwear. Oh, thanks, Mom, for telling everybody where I shop for my own. They have kind of a conflict, I noticed, because they've started putting their images, you know, that are in the store, the models. They're saying, you know, unretouched. This is the real model. One of them is a little bit larger, you know, than the others. I mean, it looks like a normal person. I had to really look because I'm like, what?
She's fuller figured, yeah.
But not really.
Right.
She just looks normal.
Yeah.
But then, like, their bra sizes are so skewed that I'm like, okay, you need to get in line like all over the place here, because I'd probably be like a double D.
Right.
You know, so their sizes are not, or at least for their bras, are not in line with reality. So if these girls thinking they're a C, that's really like an A. Or go to JCPenney or something where I like to just go get my bras, right? Whether buy one, get one half off or something. You know, you're going to go shopping for a C and be like, what happened?
Where did my
boobs go? So the whole industry, like, there's got to be some massive awareness out there. And I think it's happening slowly.
It is. I agree with you. I agree. I mean, there are more plus size models now. I mean, this year they had a plus size model on the cover of Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue. And of course,
again, she looked pretty like a normal woman.
I don't know. She looks perfectly healthy to me, you know. But you can't judge health by what someone looks like. But to me, she's a beautiful woman. And you know, she's still seen as plus size. She has made quite a name for herself, and she has a whole lingerie line. And but Cheryl Teagues, you know, who was on the cover of that magazine many times and a model for many years, said that she's promoting fat. And I disagree. I felt that my hat's off to Sports Illustrated, because they were really trying to, you know, show that there's body diversity. They also had a woman who was very physically fit. I think she was one of those martial arts. I don't recall her name, but she was like buff, you know, really like intense muscles. But most women would look at her and say, oh, she's so big, you know, but she's very athletic. She's a very athletic build. She's not the same as the other women that have been on the magazine that are like really thin. They may also be strong, but they don't have the muscles that she had, so she's seen as big. So I applaud Sports Illustrated in a way, even though they're still objectifying women, that they had other women of different shapes and sizes. You know, things can't happen overnight. So like every little move we make toward diversity, I think is wonderful. You know, because, you know, when a magazine like Sports Illustrated has a model like Ashley Graham, who is the one who was on there, it's like, oh wow, that's a big deal, you know. So
but that shouldn't even be a big deal, you know. It shouldn't be a big deal. It should just be another, you know, she's a beautiful woman. She's on the cover of Sports. Because honestly, when I saw the picture, it didn't really register. She's on plus size. Plus to what? Plus to a size 0? Because how many of us are plus size then, you know? If you're not a size 0 or 2, then you're a plus size.
And you know, some people feel that even labeling models as plus, it isn't even necessary. You know, again, the whole labeling thing, I think it is really, it can become problematic. I just think it's great that there are women out there that are, you know, with their torch and doing their thing and helping people, you know, as you say, to have more awareness. Because it's necessary. It really is necessary, because women and men feel inadequate, you know, that they are not these pinup models, you know, and so they never feel like they measure up. And it's just, it's sad. You know, it's very sad. And what the most sad thing is that people aren't living their lives to the fullest, because they never feel that they've arrived, you know, at that point. And so they go through extreme dieting, which dieting doesn't work. And they wind up being heavier than when they started, because dieting is like, it does the opposite of what, yes, people do generally lose weight, but then they gain it all back plus more. So it winds up hurting them. And that tends to be more unhealthy than people actually being overweight, because it puts a lot more stress on the body that people don't realize. And they say, oh, well, I'm fat, I have to lose weight, I'm going to have heart disease. But they don't realize that chronic dieting puts so much stress on your heart. It causes inflammation in the body. So you're better off just staying where you are, letting your body fall into its natural weight, wherever that may be. That may not be the number that you like on the scale, but it's where your body will maintain itself. And that is when you're finding true health.
Yeah. So important.
Very, very important.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
I think, gosh, we've covered like so many topics. I think we like covered the gamut of everything we kind of outlined, right?
Everybody's cured now. Everybody's fine. Everybody's aware.
But, you know, I'm not going to lie. If, it was so fun. I don't know if you've seen the commercial about, with Ryan Reynolds, who's like all over like this neighborhood. These two women are in a car. I just saw it this morning, actually. Oh. And
yes.
And I was like, oh, wouldn't suck to live in that neighborhood. You know? I would love to have my friends looking at me, and I'm like, I'm telling you, it wouldn't suck. So it's okay. No, of course, we're not going to stop admiring people who have certain physiques or things like that, you know, because we're being real here.
Absolutely.
You know? And my boyfriend, you know, has certain women actresses that he just thinks are like gorgeous and stuff. And I don't care. I don't compare myself to them.
Right.
And I should hope that he doesn't compare himself to Ryan Reynolds either. Because even my daughter was like, I'd move over there. You know, because I think that is a hugely important thing to know. And, you know, I think people are lying to themselves if they don't look at other people. This might sort of a little bit off topic, but that if they don't look at other people that they find attractive or things like that, but to be comfortable in your own skin and to know that you are a beautiful person, and that if you have a partner, a boyfriend, a girlfriend, a husband, wife, whatever, that to be honest, you know, of course, we're all going to look, but you know what? He loves me for exactly how I am. And I am. So it's not to be taken personally when people look at other beautiful people. It's just like, oh, cool, you know?
Right. We're not blind.
We're not blind. I'm not blind.
We do have hormones
to look at.
Yeah, I mean, and some things are attractive, you know? And I agree with you, and I think that's okay. I think when it becomes an issue is when it becomes sexual dominance or, you know, objectification, or it becomes violent. Because unfortunately, so many men and some women, but I think we'd all agree it's more prevalent in men, when they admire women, it becomes very sexual.
Right.
And, you know, when I look at a handsome man, there's no it's a handsome man. Like I said, I'm not blind, thank God. But, you know, I don't look at that person as, oh, what I want to do with that person. I'm thinking, wow, that's a really good looking man, you know, period. I look at my husband and I say, he's really good looking. But I've seen I don't say it to my husband, but I think, oh, that person, that's a good looking person. But I'm not thinking about it in a sexual way. I'm thinking about it as, that's just a person that I find to be very attractive, you know, that caught my eye.
Right.
I think, you know, and like you're saying, like your boyfriend loves you the way you are. He's not, well, maybe you could do a little tuck here and a little boost here to look like so-and-so, because then you're getting into, then they're not really loving you the way that you are, you know? So I think people, they need to find the people that are going to love them the way they are, you know, and most importantly, you have to love the way you are, you know, but that doesn't mean that you may not want to make improvements. You know, that doesn't mean that you may not want to get more tone, or that you don't want to get into shape, better shape, or that you, you know, it also doesn't mean that you may not want to lose weight. But for me, it's how you go about doing that really is the key, that you're not doing things that are going to harm your body, but actually going to improve upon your health, which is, again, the consistent exercise and, you know, looking at your food and really seeing what you're eating, and how do the foods make your body feel? You know, do they weigh you down? Do they give you more energy? You know, all different types of things. But again, it comes back to that intuitiveness. That only you know the answer to that. You know, only you know by listening carefully what things make you feel good and what things don't. You know, and respecting that.
And exercise. I think I've pointed on this in past interviews too, that so many people have like a negative exercise. Because I'll tell you what, if it burns, I don't want to do it. I will go out and walk a few miles. Like I'm totally okay with walking.
Yeah.
I don't want to do something that hurts.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
So
I don't blame you.
You know, honestly, I think that people should just be totally cool with, and you know, it may change over time. You may find like, oh, I walk 5 miles a day. Now I'd like to maybe do some crunches or something.
Right.
That would not be me.
I never want to do crunches, but that's okay. Yeah.
But, so it's important to start somewhere and to find something that you're comfortable doing. It doesn't have to be an all out, I've got to get a trainer and, you know, go crazy with that.
Yeah.
It's just about what feels good, what feels comfortable, something that you can commit to doing regularly, and to just go into your
100% agree with you. You know, I think that's so often you hear women say, you know, I ask them, are you physically active? And they say, oh, I don't really like exercise. I said, well, why do you think that is? I never found anything that I like doing.
Right.
Okay, well, let's find something that you like doing. And then when they do, it's like, you know, I'm not going to lie, it's not easy in the very beginning, but it's certainly a lot more pleasurable. If they're enjoying yoga more than they are being on the elliptical, because they find the elliptical to be boring. Then don't do the elliptical, you know.
Exactly.
But walking is fantastic for the body. It's also weight bearing. So for women, that's even more important in terms of bone density. So, you know, swimming, gardening, dancing, there are so many different things that people can do.
Vacuuming is good exercise.
What was that?
Vacuuming.
Yeah.
You just get right into it. You could mix
Absolutely.
vacuuming with dancing. You could have like earphones in or something.
Right. Yeah, and then go harvest some stuff from the garden. You're all set.
Done and done.
And I think it's you know, who wants to do things they don't enjoy? Yes. That's not fun.
No, and then it's a chore, and then you just find excuses to not do it.
Exactly. Yeah, I enjoy walking too. I love walking, but I also happen to like the gym. The other thing is, you don't have to belong to a gym to exercise. You know, people think that you do, and if you have a good pair of sneakers, you can walk anywhere. Right. You know. So I think, like you said, people just you need to find things that you enjoy. And that sometimes takes a little while. And you know what? It's all an exploration, and we all just need to just take our times. There's no emergency. There's no rush. And find what resonates most with us, because that's going to make us feel the best in the end.
Absolutely. And you even have some handy dandy little like affirmation cards to make you feel good.
I sure do. And that's
beautiful. So, I mean, it's a nice daily reminder. What I like to do with like my cards too, and I suggest, and you probably do the same thing, but like pick one and put it someplace where it's visible throughout the day, that you're going to see it more than once. It's just a good little reminder with nice little things to say to yourself that help. Those things help shift.
Absolutely. And, you know, people take for granted these small shifts, but they really needn't be, because it's all those small little shifts that we have along the way that lead to big change.
They really do.
I know when I used to be like in my stuff and I hated everything about my body, people are like, oh, do affirmation. I'm like, I couldn't even think of anything positive to say.
Yeah.
That was the primary reason why I did the affirmation cards, to help give people 30 examples of nice things to say to yourself every day. And it's just nice because they can carry them with them. And if they're having a really low moment, just pull a card, you know, and it's like, oh, it like feeds you something positive. And, you know, sometimes we all need that.
Yeah.
You know, we all need that sometimes. So it's important.
It really is. It is. And you have a quiz. You go ahead and tell me, because I don't want to sit here and read it, but a free gift for people, and the link will be along with the interview and everything on my website on CherriseBoucher.com/the Inspire View series. But I want you to give your contact information, website, and then this free gift info too.
Sure. The free gift is, I have a lot of free resources on my Pinterest board. I also have a lot of free stuff on my website, which is www.michelleVina-Baltsas.com. But as Cherrise said, she'll have all that information for you. But the quiz is great because if you struggle with your food, specifically with emotional eating, it will tell you what type of emotional eater you are. So for example, if you're a binge eater, or if you're a snowball eater, or if you're a stress eater, and it also gives you tips on how you can make some little shifts along the way to improve upon that so that you won't do it as often. And it's proved really, really helpful. It's like 25 questions. It's really fast, but it packs a lot of punch in terms of the information that it gives you. So you can take that on my website, and it's very helpful, and it gives you some great information.
Yeah, that's a great kickstart.
Yeah, definitely.
Of awareness.
Yes, it's that awareness. You know, like for instance, if you're categorized as a stress eater, it'll prompt you whenever you're stressed and you're reaching for the food. You're like, okay, let me go back and think about the tips that she gave me, because it can make a big, big difference.
Yeah. Yep. Awareness is the key.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm saying it and I'm sticking by it because it really encompasses like everything.
I'm with you on that. I'm totally with you on that.
And I wish I had known that like decades ago.
Yeah, me too. Me too. But you know what they say, the teacher appears when the student is ready.
Yeah, that's right. We're always ready. When I look at these, and that's why we like to talk about these things, to get it in younger women's heads and
absolutely
adolescents and everything to be aware. If they can be aware at that age, holy shit, can you imagine?
I know.
They're going to be like amazing women when they grow up.
I know. And you know, even if they feel that everything that I've said is like, oh, I don't believe that, the seed has still been planted.
That's right.
You know, and when they're ready to explore that in their lives, they will.
Yep.
And that's the really cool part, is that, you know, with the way this, you know, all the social media now and great things like you're doing, it's like we're putting that word out there and people can access it in so many different ways.
Yeah.
It's free. So, I mean, you really can't beat free.
No.
That's free.
Massive amounts of support out there, free. And I think that's a key element as well, is finding people to help you, just to give you that cheerleading and support.
Yes.
And that's, you know, with the internet now, that's like it's so much easier to find than back in the day, you know, before the internet. My kids think that dinosaurs roamed the planet. What did you do without the internet? I'm like, it didn't even exist. How could it not exist?
I know, it's hard to imagine, right? It's really, and I remember when it first came out, I was like, oh, this is never going to last. It's like, if I don't have my computer, I am lost. I'm completely lost. But I wanted to also make another point that I have a support group on Facebook for women that want to learn more about this no diet approach and more about intuitive eating, and just work more in an environment where women are really into accepting their bodies. So I know you'll include that link, but it's a private area where we talk about various things, and people are shifting, their attitudes are shifting, and they're becoming more aware, and they're starting to feel better. And that's just, you know, that's awesome. I love that.
Yeah, it really is. I can't say enough about the support that you can find online, and the ability to, you know, if you need an accountability partner or something, that you can do things like this, Zoom, Skype, Hangouts. I mean, there's FaceTime. I don't do Apple products, but you know, like all these things where you get to know people from all over the world that you never ever would have connected with before. It's just so fabulous.
And you feel like you get to know people because you're seeing them face to face, and it's of course it's never the same as one-on-one, but it's pretty good. You know, it's pretty good. You know, it's certainly better than what we've had in the past, which was nothing. So it's pretty awesome.
Just whoever lived in your neighborhood or your town or something, within walking distance or a short drive. That's like all you had. So there's no reason to not find the support you need.
I agree.
Take the steps that you envision yourself taking to improve your life.
I agree with you. I agree.
Well, gosh, this has been an amazing call, and it went even longer than I thought it was going to, but I am so thrilled that we connected.
Me
and
too.
that you shared everything, because you've just got such a great outlook, and that you've been through so much yourself personally. And that is what really connects people, you know, or shared experiences, and that they understand where they've been.
Right.
So those stories are just so powerful and so inspiring to other women. So thank you so much.
Thank you, and thank you for making this space available for people to enlighten themselves and to become more aware. It's great, and it was great getting to know you better, and I'm so glad for our connection.
Yes. Oh my God. And there'll be many more connections in the future, I'm sure. Okay. So if you're not on my mailing list, then you probably should be, because I send updates about Inspire View series and live workshops that it's my intention to do every month. And I'm always open for suggestions on the live workshops, because those are really fun and valuable. And, you know, it's live Q&A, and we're in this sort of format too. So that's fantastic. So CherriseBoucher.com/the Inspire View series is where you can find this and all previous ones, and Michelle's information and link to her quiz. And I'll get the Facebook group posted on there too. So if people want to join that, they can as well. Thank you so much,
Thanks,
Michelle.
Cherrise.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.